Hey everyone, welcome to the Weekly Rundown. I'm your host Matt from MultiTech Visions, and today is Saturday, July 3rd, 2021, the end of week 26. This week we got an easier way to copy tables from one data source to another. We got enhancements to CSVs, a fallback data locale, automation scheduled events can now accept conditional logic, as well as other bug fixes. Let's get to the details. A new button was added that allows you to copy individual tables from one data source to another. I'm not going to demo that here. I'll include a video where I've already done that so you can see what that looks like there. A new welcome modal was added to render app preview or app template suggestions. So those are those little things up at the top that say, hey, you should sort by this or add this table or make a view like this. There's some more of those that have been added. A real big one that was added this week was enhancements to the import and export of CSVs. Previously, they only allowed the use of the US locale. So dates were in the format of month/day/year. But if you're in the UK, they put the day first. It's day, month, year. So when you would export data, if you were using your system in the UK, the data would come out a little wonky like that. All your dates would be a little weird. Some other locales, instead of using a comma for a separator, they use a semicolon, or instead of a period, they use a comma. So depending on where you are in the world, depends on how numbers and dates and things of that nature should be formatted. So previously, when you exported data or you imported it, it all used the US locale. Now it's been updated to use all of them. The application author specifies the locale on the behavior action page on the individual import and export actions. So for each one, you have the ability to specify what sort of locale is this data. Now this is nice because if you have a system that's used in multiple locales around the world, where you give users the ability to select their locale. So if I'm in the US, I can say I'm here. If I'm in the UK, I can say I'm there. This gives you the ability to create multiple different import and export actions so that you can get the data into the correct format in the actual CSV file. The place where you identify what locale should be used accepts formulas, which is fantastic because that means that you can use a user setting, you can create a field inside your user table and do a lookup or create a current user slice, whatever you're doing. You can store the user's locale, whichever one they've selected, and use that. So any previous actions that you've had for import or export of CSV that were made before June 28th when this feature was released, they're going to have their locale set to US since that was the default at that time. Previously, if you were using a locale on your device that AppSheet didn't recognize, it appears that that was actually causing a fatal error where the app would just crash apparently. So it seems they've fixed this. So now if you're using something, they've essentially put in a bug catch to where if you're using something that would cause the error, instead of that, it defaults to the United States English. That way you can at least still use the system. An issue is fixed where when editing bot events in the side panel, switching to a different event would display event details from the previously selected event. So essentially you were looking at one thing and you switched to something else, but it didn't switch over in the side. They fixed that now. An issue is fixed where when writing a sort function with a list of lists as an argument, this prevented the app from loading. The sort function doesn't work on lists of lists. This situation is now detected and it shows an error to the user. In a situation like this, what you do is you take your list of lists, wrap it in a concatenate, and then wrap that in a split where you split by space, comma, space. That then turns your list of lists into a single list. Now, the problem you have here is that you lose any kind of type information that you may have had. So for instance, if your list of lists is a list of references, inside that there's some metadata that we don't see that tells the system, what table this comes from, what the IDs for, so on and so forth. So when you split things out like this, you lose all of that sort of metadata that's floating in the background, and it becomes a text list. So just keep that in mind. If you want to retain the type, what you have to do is you have to take that split, concatenate, and your list thing and put that in its own column. When you do that, then you can specify what kind of list that column is. June 30th, we saw the updates for the scheduled events where if you had a scheduled event and you specified for each row in this table, you can now include logic. There was an update to the AppSheet navigation logo. So, up at the top, when you click on these things, it takes you to generally the home page. This has been updated to where if you're logged in and you click on that, it now takes you to the My Apps page, which is kind of essentially the home page for AppSheet when you're logged in, if you think about it. If you're utilizing the feature program and you have a large display, the search bar has now been moved over to the right-hand side of the screen. And lastly, a bug fix was made where if you were viewing a map and there was the side detail panel that was open that had an inline map, they were only showing half of the map. They were kind of cut off. That's been rectified. Hey, I just wanted to say thanks for watching the video. Make sure you give it a like and a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe. It really helps the channel with all the algorithm stuff that's going on I'm trying to build. Also, if you really want to show your love, you can head on over to patreon.com/multitech. There's some goodies over there. It's $10 a month. I got a lot of good stuff going on over there. Check it out. Otherwise, I'll see you in the community.